This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Toki Anikawa of Sargentanus, Talin Vieira of Diabolos, Giga Pensu of Excalibur. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Coming up this week on Checkpoint Radio, the Supreme Court has struck down the federal ban on sports gambling. Attorney Ryan Fairchild joins us to understand how this could impact esports. Plus, are VR stadiums the future of esports viewing? That's all coming up on your source for esports and video game discussions, Checkpoint Radio from Westwood One. Join me, Nate, Robbie Norris, and Joe for Checkpoint Radio. Listen on demand Tuesdays at our website over at checkpointradio.com.
Live from...
How long has it been since you've enjoyed a long, meaty sausage? Oh, I can answer that for you. Too long. That's why you need to get your tail down to the hottest club this side of the Sicily Desert, Flickin' Tails. Flickin' Tails offers only the best food and entertainment for your hard-earned gill. Our male bunny girl dancers come in every flavor you could ever dream of. Male cat girl, male dick giant, male potato, male damo, and male males. All male bunny girls are outfitted with the silky, smooth velvet bustiers you've come to know and love. Hosting a party? Enjoy additional services in our back VIP room, full of complimentary cleaning supplies for any spills that may occur. So come on down to Flickin' Tails, more sausage than your mouth has room for.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Unhero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Ascalia.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode 159. So glad to have you logged in with us. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio, starting at 4-ish here at Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Appreciate having you guys along. It's going to be an interesting show today because like no one's here. Like no one's here.
This is also
I'm sitting in a studio alone.
We were here in spirit.
For me, the most annoying thing
Shut up, Nika.
was that we had an entirely different show planned. Again. And this time Square Enix is like, oh, let's go out the preliminary patch notes early this time.
Yeah. So instead of putting them out on Monday like they did with 4.2, they put them out on, what was it, Thursday or Friday?
I think it was Thursday, right after we yelled at Nika for not doing the work we wanted her to do.
That's right. So that's what we're going to be talking about if you're listening on the podcast and waiting for the new patch to download or for the servers to go up. We're going to go over what you can expect here today on Limit Break Radio. It's gonna be a show.
We also have a little taste of something in the news for the legacy Square Enix MMOers in us, talking a little FF11.
Oh no. I could just hear the critics now. They're just gonna talk about how they missed this game and how it's not FF11. You can hear it. I can already hear it.
Not be wrong.
Yeah. Also, everyone should have received their Nika postcards. I came home this morning and it was like on my bed, which means that like my grandparents like took it out of the mail. And
I'm sure that they.
That's okay. It's super cute.
I'm sure that they had no questions about that whatsoever.
That's super cute.
If they do. I'm glad they kept them to themselves.
Anyway, so welcome to Limit Break Radio. Glad to have everyone along. Like I said, the studio is empty. Nobody is here. I'm the only one here.
Wait, I'm like sitting there, aren't I?
No, I mean, you're talking about the Eorzean studio. I'm talking about actually in the fucking studio.
My chair is broken. Like, I can't like sit in my chair. You know the problem you had when you type
that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
sit on the floor.
It's crazy. I don't know what that is.
It's with your chair most of the time. I tried sitting in that chair once when you weren't here, and I had the same problem.
Fix your game, Square Enix.
Right?
Which may go unnoticed by the Guardian.
Where is that's a good question.
You guys are talking all over the donation and shit. I don't even know why. I don't know why it's not popping up.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't pop up on my alert box. I have it open.
Sorry, let me open them like I had. I had the alerts open.
But it didn't even pop up on his alert box, so it wouldn't pop up on yours either.
Oh, you know why?
Oh, the stream key.
No, we're logged into Checkpoint Radio.
Oh!
I was gonna say I saw it on the actual stream.
Yep. Yeah,
so. I have that problem too.
Yeah, this is annoying. This is annoying. Nobody donate until I fix this shit. God damn it!
Lloyd asking where Juxta is. That's actually a really good question. About a month ago, he told us he wouldn't be here for today's show, but we didn't really ask him why. So
he's in the chat.
He's doing something.
He's there. I see him.
All right, Juxta, why the fuck aren't you here?
Yeah, Juxta, why aren't you here?
Even Escalia almost came back to like do a guest spot today and then thought better of it.
Because he's a smart man, that's why. He's a dumb woman, but he's a smart man.
First of all, don't you think that's a little much? I mean, dumb and woman, they both get across the same point.
Hey, back the fuck up.
All right, I think I fixed the donations now, so there we go.
Someone donate and test it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead and test the donations now. God damn it. Ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Glad to have you along. We do have plenty of stuff to talk about. We're going to be going over, the patch notes, telling you what you can expect with patch 4.3. So that's going to be exciting.
A few surprising things in there, actually. If I'm going to be completely honest, there were a few things that made me kind of look twice. Yeah.
I'm just surprised Jux is not going to be here today. We were having a very interesting discussion that now I wish he would be here for.
Yeah, instead, no, he's shirking his responsibilities and doing something for his stupid baby, I'm sure.
Stupid baby.
Babies are not stupid.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
The baby has not been alive enough time to grow into their genetic stupidity.
It's a baby, Nika.
But I'm saying all babies are inherently stupid.
Yeah, there's different types of stupids.
Yeah. I mean, as it grows up, we're going to really see the extent of the damage.
Yeah, like right now, it's just baby stupid. And it's not its fault. It's a tiny human. But as it grows up, it grows into Juxta stupid, right? So
yeah,
it's different. It's like when your baby grows up, it'll get Nika stupid.
But I'm not stupid.
You have your own version of stupid. I mean, you keep defending Final Fantasy 15.
You didn't want to hear about Tana leakage.
Thank you.
But I'm also very critical about 15.
Yeah, but you still like it.
I do.
Yeah. See, there's the stupid. Do I need to say it again? You
guys still live in Michigan, so that's stupid.
I live and work in Michigan.
We don't have the money to move out of Michigan, even if we wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think it's just, like I'm what is it called?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome for me at this point. I'm actually starting to like it.
No.
Yeah, I actually like living out here. Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Also, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, limitbreakradio.com or iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you download podcasts, you can find Limit Break Radio. And if you get a second, if you think about it, go ahead and leave us a little review on iTunes. We haven't gotten a review for Limit Break Radio in a while on iTunes. So of course we are live, coming to you live from Eorzea. We got to get the studio up on screen. There we go. That's better. All right. So now, okay, where the fuck are we in this show? I don't even know.
Really quick, I know that I mentioned the postcard just briefly earlier, but I was also told by Juxta that we have actually dipped below the $1,300 mark on Patreon by only $9.
Yeah.
So it's only going to take literally one of you to go over there and give a little something. And again, if you do it at that $20 mark, you are eligible for the last of Noriko's 2 postcards, one of which will be Juxta and the other of which will be Kooky. So
and then we the best one.
And then we find another artist, right?
And then we find another artist. I actually think I already have one lined up, so I just have to get in contact with them. But like Noriko's been done with hers since like the beginning of last month, so it's been really nice not having to worry about.
She's a pro.
Where's that card at?
She's a goddamn pro.
She is.
So,
she really is.
Yeah, huge shout out to Noriko. Thank you for that. Patreon.com/Limit Break Radio if you want to help support Limit Break Radio, Checkpoint Radio, kind of all of our various projects. We are $9 below being eligible for the Let's Be Real podcast. And so you guys have got like another week or two. I think it's, like June 1st that we set the deadline as. So actually, that's just a little bit over a week.
About a week and a half.
About a week and a half. And as long as we hit June in that 1,300 number, the Let's Be Real podcast will debut. And you guys can figure out if you want to continue supporting from there or not. But we want to be able to debut it. But we've got to kind of be sticklers on this and got to say that we can't just call it close at $9 below. It's got to be above that 1,300 mark. So head on over to patreon.com/Limit Break Radio and support the show. We're also working on a bunch of other various projects for Checkpoint Radio, as well as checking out some more possibilities for what we can do with the stream. So make sure you visit over at twitch.tv/Checkpoint Radio and checkpointradio.com to check out all of our work associated with that. For those that don't know, that show was kind of born out of really our efforts stemming back all the way to the Final Fantasy XI version of this show. We've all been working together in various capacities for about 12 years now, and we think that we've got a pretty good show with Checkpoint Radio.
Is it news time yet?
Fuck off.
Is there any FFXIV news?
No, there's not. Fuck off. Anyway, so checkpointradio.com to check that out. It shocks me the number of LBR loyal that have not checked out Checkpoint Radio because they hear esports and they go, esports isn't my thing.
It's such a, especially in the streaming component, it's such a small section of what we do over there. Like, if you like what you see here on our stream, you're going to like what you see over there as well. Like guaranteed 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just esports that we cover on Checkpoint. It's actually a fairly well-rounded show that happens to look at esports because more than half of our radio station affiliates happen to be sports radio stations.
And to be fair, too, I feel like when people think of sports radio, they probably think of when people are just discussing like raw stats and stuff like that. And,
right.
And I like to think that our discussions, they're far and removed from just like crunching stats and stuff. They're really like intelligent conversations about how this affects not just the esports scene, but sometimes even the gaming scene at large.
Yeah. So, Nika, I wanted to talk to you about something that happened the other day. By the way, thank you for that Patreon, brand new Patreon subscriber. So a couple of fans had gotten a hold of me very, very late in the morning a couple of days ago to inform me that you had just left the Twitch stream running and gone to bed.
What?
Esports equals feast coverage.
No.
Stop.
No. So, Nika, what happened?
So I thought I just clicked end, but apparently I didn't actually click the button. That's exactly what happened. That was it.
So
you know you're not getting paid for those hours, right?
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
It was not on purpose. Like I have the OBS Studio up, and it has the preview whether I'm streaming or not. So I thought I had didn't notice that
it is fairly like since they made
the original
preview,
OBS. If you weren't streaming, you couldn't see anything on OBS.
Right. Yeah.
So
it removed the preview.
There's nothing that tells you that it's actually done. So I thought I clicked end. I must not have actually clicked end, and I walked away. Is that
what Wiz79 says? I went to an LBR stream last week and only saw a chair in a dark room.
I wonder how it works, because I did host somebody, so I'm pretty sure did it host them, and then when he was done, it went back to the chair?
At least she didn't get it on with Senpai on stream by accident.
That's true. That would have been bad. That would have been terrible. No, but when you host someone, it doesn't take your channel down. It just overlays, it lays their channel on top of yours. So if you're still live when they turn their channel off,
it'll go back.
Everyone just comes back.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. You know, I have this weird, I guess it's a paranoia, but whenever I'm done streaming, even when I know I've closed out OBS, I've turned off, like I've completely exited out of Discord, I still have to mute my mic and turn my webcam up at the ceiling.
Just in case?
Just in case somehow.
I normally close OBS, but like Saren was like, come on, we have to go watch the Arrow finale before you fall asleep. I was like, okay, fine.
God, you should have fell asleep.
So I got up and I went to go watch it, and I just left it running. I'm sorry.
Whenever I'm done with my stream.
I've never made that mistake before.
Whenever I'm done with my stream for the night, I always fist fight my webcam just because I think it's trying to overtake me. I've won every time.
What?
I've won every time.
Spying on you?
Yeah. Sons of bitches.
I just don't want to watch porn and masturbate and have it be turned on. That'd get us in trouble.
That would be funny, though. I'd laugh at you a lot and then blame you forever for getting our channel banned.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know, we were just yelling at Skuro beforehand because I think he was one of the ones that realized what Nika had done, and he had tried to reset the stream key to kick her off.
Yeah, that doesn't work, by the way.
No, it doesn't, which I told him that. I'm like, no, don't do that. Apparently he did anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why we were late. That's why we were late today. If anyone was wondering.
I don't know that was entirely Skuro's fault, because he was actually trying to help.
He was trying to help.
Put that blame on Nika.
Yeah. I'd say it's 50-50.
I voted it. It was my mistake. I'll never do it again.
Blame Nika for the show being late today.
Fine.
Anyway, we would love to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We're going to be talking all about the 4.3 preliminary patch notes, and if you've got an opinion, we would love to hear from you. Again, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We're still putting Lloyd through his paces, so make sure that he actually has some goddamn work to do today.
He's been, honestly, like, it's kind of frightening compared to what we're used to, how well he's been doing. I hope we don't end up with like another kooky. I know that sounds weird to say, but I hope he doesn't get to a point where we rely on him so much that when he eventually dies from a drug overdose, then we're like screwed. We have to go back to Skuro.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that Skuro would up his game now that he's got competition.
Did you notice that when we did the Checkpoint show and podcast Wednesday, Skuro actually did the highlights Wednesday night?
No, I didn't notice that.
He did.
Good for him.
He says, "Oh, it's not a competition. I don't care." But I think somewhere deep down, I think he does.
I think he does too.
Yeah,
sounds like it's me.
All right, let's check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a limit-breaking news update.
So we don't actually have a whole lot in the way of FF14 news, but we do have. We do have.
You don't say. I have no idea.
I mean, I could make something up. I could grab from Reddit again if you want me to.
No, don't. No.
Okay, we do have actual news, but it's of the FF11 variety. Now, Aniro, you were actually the first one, I think, to show this to the rest of the LBR crew, and you were pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
So we have actual screenshots from the mobile FF11 game.
Yeah, so a couple of new screenshots have come out from Nexon's take on Vana'diel. And I have to say, I mean, I'm showing the screenshots right now on stream. I have to say how impressed I am by this.
They're pretty.
They really are. The one that I am particularly impressed with is the Hume and the Taru that are looking out at what I'm assuming to be Tarongi Canyon or Marifatad Mountains, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it's the canyon. Could potentially be Adwa Chasm.
A system error occurred during event movement.
I think it's Tarongi Canyon.
I think it's Tarongi. Yeah. I think this looks really great. I would rather, honestly divert some of your development from FF14 and put it towards giving a PC client to this thing, because I would play this over FF14 at this point.
Here's my question. Like, these aren't, like, did they, I mean, I don't know how the technical whatever works, but are these just upscaled, or do you think that they actually had to, like, do some, like, redesigning, or...
No, I think that they're redesigning Vana'diel from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you could port those maps in a meaningful way. And this looks fairly, I mean, it's tough to tell. The models are damn near the same character models that I remember from 11.
Mm-hmm.
They're much smoother.
They are. Like,
yeah.
I'm specifically looking at the Elvon chick.
Yeah, but the
who is
one
probably
who's standing sideways.
Jugner. Yeah, in Jugner, it looks.
I think it's
good.
Ron Fair, actually.
Oh, or Ron Fair.
Yeah, Ron Fair. Yeah. I mean, it's really tough to tell. I hope. Mm-hmm. I kind of hope that they're doing a ground up approach on it, because that would definitely be cool. I don't know. Like, I think when they took FF14 and made it its own thing from an FF11 upgrade, that was a mistake. Can we go back to the 11 upgrade? Can we I mean, can we exchange FF14 for the 11 upgrade? I'd rather have 11 2.0. I've actually been playing fucking 11 for the last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's shit that I still have to do, and getting
it's so bad.
It's not that bad.
It's so clunky. Like, that was the worst thing. It's so clunky. The UI is horrible.
It was always clunky.
I know, but going to 14 with a really smooth UI and then going back into 11 is torture.
He tried to convince me to get back in just to come open the mage door for him.
Yeah, by the way, 6 hours and 5 quests later, I figured it out. I got it. That's the nice part
you
about
can get
11.
A key that you won't.
Yes, I know I got a key. Fuck off, Nika. Where were you 2 weeks ago?
Dude, I actually just uninstalled FF11 to clear space on my computer yesterday. So,
well, because you finished it, you basically did. Like,
I've done all the story. Like,
you have nothing left to do in it.
Yeah, Scully and I went back and did all of the storylines.
Have you?
I did all the story. I didn't do all the end game stuff.
Let's take a look at our next news story, which is actually related to this, because obviously the screenshots and whatnot have been making the rounds here a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So there was actually an interview that Silicon Era did with
Please look forward to getting your LBR link Pearl on FFXIV Nexus and LBR Season 3 FFXIV Radio updated.
Producer Akihiko Matsui and director Yoji Fujita actually sat down with Silicon Era because they had some interesting things to say. Now I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but there were a few snippets of this interview that were picked out here. So a lot of people, after seeing these screenshots, were like, can we get like a PS4 version of this? Or Nero, as you said, can we just get FF11 2? Some people are even saying, why not like give us an offline version at least, so that we can play through everything at like our on our own time and whatnot. So a few things they mentioned, that now that they're only managing the PC version, the team size for FF11 has shrunk considerably.
So it's just these two guys. That's it. This is the entire team right here.
The remaining staff felt that the world of Vana'diel would die if they didn't continue working on it. So instead, they decided that they want to just die working on this game forever.
So me and Carl just got this game dumped in our lap. And so we're trying to figure out how to make some cutscenes for it. And it's going to be cool.
Yep, there are plans to add more to the story. The team currently has members studying cutscene tools, so they might be able to start adding new story soon. What do you think about that, Nika?
I don't know. I feel like Rhapsody of Vana'diel was like the definite ending of the game. Like they managed to bring back every character for a whole bunch of sequences of story events, and just it felt like a conclusion.
Now, hang on.
Anything that these two people can do, I feel like
there's more than two people. Stop it.
Now, hang on, Nika.
It's not going to feel the same.
This is the same woman that has defended the what if scenario DLC for FF15.
Not true. I actually hate the what if scenarios. I really, really hate them. I love all the other ones. Even the what if scenario and the Iggy shit, I hate it. Hate it a lot.
They need 11 mobile to give you something to do while AF can train.
There you go.
I have not defended the what if scenarios. Don't give me that.
I feel like she did.
I feel like she did. I don't know. I don't think.
I hate the what if scenarios. You can go back on my Facebook when they announced it and just watch how much I'm bitching about it. I don't defend that at all.
Well, they do mention too for future content updates, which I didn't even realize, because I thought after Rhapsody that was like the last major big content.
They're just doing quality of life and like little tiny things like new mounts and new.
Well, I actually think that their plans are they want to do more, because it says the Final Fantasy XI team wants to wisely use what they have and work on content that hasn't been played recently or places that haven't been visited in a while and make them more lively.
I mean, that's probably a good idea. I don't know. Like, I'm a bit skeptical on what they can still do with this system.
That's fair. I think one thing that I sort of respect them for is they said, obviously the development cost for MMORPGs is higher than what most people expect, even for FF11. They said that they want to make it very clear they are not going to turn to crowdfunding.
Wait, Can a AAA developer do that? Is that an option for them?
Didn't Sony do it with Shenmue to gauge interest?
Hang on. Now, hang on. As I understand that situation, Sony basically said, listen, go and crowdfund it. We're going to help you promote it. And if you don't get there, we're going to make up the difference.
Really?
That's how I understood it, right? So, like, the people on either side of that shouting match kind of, it's kind of a moot point. Okay. But I mean, like, to say, hey, FF11 is going crowdfunding. I mean, that would be bizarre.
Is there any rules or laws against it?
No, because I guarantee you right now, if SE put out a crowdfunding that says, we get enough money, we will make a PC offline version of FF11 for all the nostalgic fans to jack off to, everyone will donate to.
I don't know that they would, because actually the very next bullet point that I have here is they say that there are many voices of those who want an offline version of Final Fantasy XI, but moving 11 to modern hardware would require building and repairing technologies from scratch, and doing so for the sheer volume of the game would be very costly.
So
right.
depending
on crowdfunding, that's what I'm saying. If they crowdfunded it, they could do it.
I don't know if they would be able to crowdfund quite that much. Square Enix has lost a lot of their, I think, fan power recently.
I think, I don't think that they would get the money that they need to be able to do the project.
And that's not even necessarily just on Square Enix, because even when it comes to kickstarting and crowdfunding video games, like that's a very costly what's the word that I'm looking for? Because it goes belly up so many times. I think a lot of people would look at that sideways and be like, I don't know. That's probably not the best choice, honestly.
I don't know. I'm curious about what the mobile client is going to bring to the table, because, and I think PUBG Mobile really had to make me kind of, take pause and reevaluate, how quickly or not I'm blowing off the idea of a mobile game because of the platform. Now, I mean, is PUBG Mobile perfect? No, but it is such a remarkably good translation of what the PC version does that it makes me kind of go, okay, maybe FF11 on phone hardware may not be the dumpster fire that I originally imagined that it would be.
That's fair. It'd probably get me, if it's able to also be played on tablets, to reinvest in a tablet. I have just something against playing on super tiny screens, but it's hard to argue that you're right. Both FF11 and PUBG Mobile, after having played it as well, was unlike anything that I had ever considered mobile gaming.
Yeah, it really kind of drove home like, okay, this is kind of I got to take this platform a little bit more seriously. You know,
yeah.
So I mean, in terms of processing power, I do think that, you know, mobile hardware does have the ability to process what FF11 graphics were essentially.
And depending on how popular it is, because I have no idea, I don't think they've discussed anything relating to, you know, what it's going to cost to play this or whatnot, but depending on how successful it is, that could be, I don't want to say a second life for 11, but, you know, it could give it a few more months before pulling the plug.
You know, as I'm looking more and more at these screenshots from the mobile version, right, and especially when we're looking at the one with the wide shot of what may either be Merifatod or Tarangi, I think, Kahlo, when you asked whether or not the character models were upscales, they may be because they're so loyal to the source material. However, where have you ever seen this in Vana'diel? Like this exact location, right?
That's the thing. I feel like they're in a space that I don't know that in actual FF11 we could get to.
Right.
Especially because a lot of FF11's textures were repeated throughout big zones. And I feel like this doesn't look like repeated texture to me.
I think that they may be redesigning the world for a mobile environment and taking some original art assets and animation keyframes to be able to borrow from. That's what I think. Oh, man. That's what I think.
Oh, I can't believe that I might be getting back into Vana'diel after all this time.
Honestly, though, I mean, and I say this after playing the PUBG mobile version just because of the kind of inherent limitations of mobile hardware. I do hope that there is a PC version of this. I do hope that there is a PC client for this, because I would much rather spend time in front of my PC than come home and jam some quests out on my phone.
And I'm trying to figure out how the online portion is going to work, because we know it's not an MMO on mobile, but I assumed it would be like a mission-based thing where you queue up with people, like Monster Hunter type of thing. But I'm looking at that one of the Chocobo in which it looks like they're inside or right outside of fucking Sandoria, and there's multiple people just running in the background behind them.
Yeah.
Which also makes me feel it's not just hey, let's queue up with people through the online server. It's like there's actually people there, which makes it feel more like an MMO. So I'm not really sure where they're going with it.
It could be a hub and spoke. You know, like if the city zones could be where you interact with other people, and then you party up and go out into the main world. That could be it. I mean, Guild Wars functioned on kind of the same logic. But did you guys notice that red chocobo in the background? I want that red chocobo. I want that red chocobo.
Yeah, I had a blue chocobo in 11.
I had a green one.
Yeah, but
you had to raise them yourself.
Yeah, you had to raise them yourself. Yeah. And that was a pain in the dick. I hated that. Fucking.
And then and after so long they died, but you could still like whistle them back. It was sad.
So and I'm
Dunkel.
Also, yeah,
that's
Dunkel.
What your chocobo was. Dunkel.
I just said fucking Dunkel.
Fucking Dunkel.
But also, looking at the screenshot of the Mithra running away from the two orcs, that also does not. I mean, it generically looks like it's out of Vana'diel.
No, I'm trying to think of what the name of it is. It was the Orc Beastman stronghold area. I could not think.
They didn't have any.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they had bridges.
Someone remind me what
Galeshba Outpost.
Galeshba Outpost.
Yeah.
Galeshba Outpost. Yeah, I believe that's where that is.
I'm just saying that exact bridge. Not quite sure. Also, in the final screenshot where we've got a couple of people fighting the tortoise, we've got this cave in the background. I don't remember a whole lot of
that cave too.
I don't remember a whole lot of caves in FF11.
Well, usually I feel like caves like that ended up being zones into other places. Like
that's true. They were zones.
Where it zoned into where you could fight Adamantoise.
Yeah,
could be. Sirocco Kukri NM spawned.
Okay,
there was a cave there, and that was a zone line.
Okay, all right, yeah. So I don't know. I'm really interested in this.
I am too now. Damn it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, I've always been interested in this as long as they do it right.
I mean that's of course the caveat.
Well, right, but they also said that we wouldn't be able to port our characters over, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That also makes me think that it's
it gives me a
different
chance to
take
play
on it,
something other than a human. I got so bored of my human.
She was ugly too.
No, she wasn't. I made her look like me, you asshole. I on purpose. I picked one that looks close to me. You're a jerk.
So that's all that we have in FFMMO news. That's what we're going to call it today.
Fair enough. So we also got the preliminary patch notes for patch 4.3. Most people listening to this show are going to be listening to it waiting for 4.3 to drop, or the day before, or waiting for servers to go up. So we might as well talk about what we can expect for patch 4.3 called Under the Moonlight.
Yep. Now, a few things that I wanted to just remind people of, as big as this patch seems. Remember, we are not getting it all at once. They're putting us on a slow drip in order to keep the content alive for a prolonged period of time. So the weapons refrain ultimate, you're not getting that till 4.31, which only like 2% of the player population is going to play it anyway. In 4.35, that's when we will get Heaven on High, the new deep dungeon. And more Hildebrand adventures, which
this I think, honestly, this is the one that pisses me off the most. Because patch
the Hildebrand?
No, the Heaven on High. Patch 4.35 should be the second Eureka drop.
I agree.
And we should be getting.
High should be maybe like a couple weeks after the drop of the patch.
I would even say I would say that it's pretty egregious that it's not in with patch 4.3 proper.
Or even 4.31, because literally only the top echelon of raiders are getting that.
Yeah, I think it could drop easily with 4.31, and that would make sense.
I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, I also think that it should be in 4.3 proper.
Now, okay, so their original statement was because they think that players will be so busy with the content, we are delaying. Do you think that actually means we're actually not ready to release it yet?
So. Why are you asking that question, Nika?
The only actual content that you will be playing, like when the patch drops, is you'll do your MSQs, which you'll have done. Let's pretend you're kooky, which you'll have done in a week, okay? And then you obviously have your Alliance raid that you'll do once per week, and then maybe your Beast Tribe quests. There's really not that much content to where you have to.
Well, there's got to be some kind of primal you can dog farm.
Great, because that's content, the exact same fight over and over and over again. Oh, for you it is. Never mind.
Yeah.
But again, this exposes the problem of having a valid eye level range, right? Like, if we have no lateral progression and we have no choices to make, right? It's basically just grind towards the next eye level. You've got a limited eye level range that's even relevant. So the content that you put in, you've got to figure out how to properly reward it. That's the biggest problem that Square Enix has had ever since even going back to A Realm Reborn. Properly incentivizing participation in their content.
They've been so snaky about this too, because I remember back in like the 2.0 range, we get like the first time I can remember it happening was with 3.5, where we got the second part of the story, right?
Right.
And then as stuff's coming out, it's like, oh, we had to delay something, so you're gonna get this in a half patch, or you'll get bug fixes in an off patch. And this is the first time where they've been like, here's all the stuff we're giving you, but here, and here. Like, they've worked their way up to this so gradually that this just seems like business as usual.
I think it's disappointing.
It is absolutely disappointing.
Yeah.
I guess I feel I don't know if tricked is the right word. I mean, looking at it now, it makes sense to me, but I definitely feel like the way that they went about this was to purposely try and make us feel like, no, this is normal now. Just giving you your portions little by little by little, spacing them out for you. So moving on, let's talk about the MSQ here. The full chain of quests that it has sits at 7, which, not to jump too far ahead, but that is the exact same amount of quests that the Namazu Beast Tribe has.
The Beast Tribe's going to have way more than that. Because from my experience of how the Beast Tribe quests work, each tier has between 3 and 6, and there's going to be 5 different levels at least.
I don't know, when I was reading through these patch notes and I saw that the MSQ has as much quest structuring in it as the little fish people that want to make a Weeaboo festival.
I think it's the that's the level up quests, not the actual quests that you do.
No, but I mean, in terms of development for how much content you're going to be doing, you know what I mean? Like, it does seem disproportionate, and it also seems dinky. 7 quests for MSQ. Like, in 3.0, we were getting like quest chains that had 11 quests on them.
In addition to maybe a trial and a dungeon as well.
Yeah. What is going on with this game? What is going on with the development of this game? Are they diverting resources to a different game? Is this in order for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out? What is going on? Honestly, the slide in content has been more drastic than any other MMO than I've seen in 10 years.
And I can't 100% tell here too, but I'm not actually sure if... Do you guys think that the Swallow's Compass is going to be involved in the MSQ, or do you think it's going to be part of the Four Lords Chronicles of a New Era quest
Definitely
line?
Four Lords.
Yeah. Four Lords, for sure.
Okay, so what this tells me is that basically this MSQ is just going to be more character bullshit of characters I don't care about.
But also, the way that it worked before is the main story quest came to that point, and it was part of the main story, sort of, also, or like branched off at a certain point, so that once you couldn't do the dungeon until you got to a certain point in the story, and then you would get...
I mean, I guess, yes, that they'll kind of, on the side, it'll sort of be like attached to it, but, you know, looking at these 2 screenshots that they have here with Hien and Yetsuyu, and should I know who that dude behind Elfenau is?
Which picture are you looking at?
It's right at the very top. Playable content, quests, new main scenario quests have been added.
Scroll down. He's a Garland.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't recognize him either.
Okay, they're just... I don't know, something about these screenshots. Like all I'm picturing now is going through that same shit that I did. The last MSQ, full disclosure, the last MSQ cutscene that I watched was when you're walking around with Nanamo, and she's being all emo about how she's not sure if she can rule without having Raoban by her side and like questioning herself and shit. That was so fucking boring to me that I skipped all the other cutscenes. And just what I'm seeing so far right here in what little bit we could make out of from the Under the Moonlight trailer, I'm not excited about the MSQ whatsoever. Like, it feels like a chore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think 7 quests is, for me personally, like, I'm kind of all right with that, because I don't give a shit about what's going on in the MSQ.
Okay,
so it's like,
looking at the bright side,
yeah,
I like it.
I can just blow through it, but I think that's fairly inexcusable for an MMO in 2018 that's putting out a major patch.
Well, but I mean, what are they supposed to do? I mean, come on, we liberated 2 nations from Garlemald at the start of the expansion.
I don't know. I mean, do
how
something.
Are they supposed to top that?
Move us towards the next conflict. I don't know what the fuck. Like the fact that I don't know where this is going, to me, tells me that the writers don't know where this is going either. So they're just faffing about in these patch MSQ. I like, just fucking get us through this shit. Get us to the next thing.
You know what? More so the fact that, and we talked about this on the last show, I think, the fact that we don't really care where it's going means that they're not even properly building anything for us. God, you might be right. Fuck, they're just faffing around until what, the next expansion?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what are they even going to do for the next expansion that's going to be interesting? Like, what have they done in this series?
We're going to go obliterate Garlemald
in the first patch.
But what have they done in this series of narratives to set us up to be ready for that, or to really even want that?
Maybe that's why Xenos is coming back.
Oh my God.
He's going to help lead us into Garlemald. We've been thinking about it all wrong, guys. He's an ally now.
No, not that. I'm just saying he's here to do something so bad and prove to us that Garlemald is up to something bigger than we assumed in the first place. And we're gonna then be like, no, fuck all the Garleans, let's go beat them.
No, you're giving them too much credit. They're not setting it up at all. No. The next expansion will just start, and they'll be like, well, let's go get Garlemald now.
No, honestly, you know what I think? No, stop.
Like last patch 4.55557 or whatever will lead us into it.
No, I don't think so. I think that this is all going to just peter out. All of our storylines are going to peter out and resolve themselves so that when the next expansion comes out, they can have a completely fresh storyline to set from, and that will encourage people to buy more jump potions.
Now,
okay, first of all, there's a part of me that's like, if they wanted to just be like, fuck all this story, let's just start fresh, might not be the worst idea for them.
I mean,
no, that would be really bad.
I think it would be really bad. I mean, like,
how do they fuck that up though? Right? Like, we're sitting here complaining about how we're not grabbed by this story, right? That we have no investment in the characters or their plights or anything like that. If they do just start fresh with a whole new story, it's a fresh slate at least.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're really gonna get raked over the coals for these last series of MSQs then, because it's how do you you need to be able to set up for the next thing. Obviously, Square Enix is really bad at that. Square Enix is really bad at transitioning from one thing to another, from one setting to another, because look at how poorly they did it between 3.0 and 4.0.
Throughout the entire expansion,
it was Dragon Song War, Warriors of Light, what the fuck, and then Alamigo, done.
You'd think they would have had a more solid plan, knowing going into Stormblood that we're going to be separated between two fucking continents.
I don't think they fucking have a plan.
No,
I think they're making this shit up as they go along.
Ugh.
That's the part that fucking bothers me. Like, if they said that, if they just came out and said that, like, yeah, listen, we're way past the point where we had a plan for the story, and now we're just tap dancing to figure out what we want to get to, I would respect that. I actually might even be a little bit impressed with that. Because in like with that context, it's actually not that bad. It's like it's passable, right?
Yeah, no, I think what it does is it further for me strengthens the theory that the way that the development works, whether you're creating actual cutscenes, whether you're the ones writing the story, I think that everything is so disjointed and compartmentalized that, let's say that you're the one who's actually writing, like they're like, all right, we need you to write the storyline for the Four Lords quest line for 4.3, right? I don't think that person gets to see the full big picture. You know, again, this is something that we've mentioned in regards to Nika's monk guy being left out of things, right? That they don't have access to all the information, so they're really just putting down sort of a bare bones minimum. All right, this should fit in there, nicely, and it really comes through as being disjointed, and it makes it seem like they have no direction.
They don't. I don't think that they do. They're rudderless. It's like a boat without a rudder. They have no way to be able to steer where the fuck they're going, and it's clear now to the audience that they have no idea.
Yeah.
If it wasn't clear, if it wasn't made abundantly clear by the train wreck of a storyline that ended the 3.0 series of patches, then it has been laid bare for all to see in these Stormblood patches.
Yeah, like Gisela said, Garlean's pale in comparison to knowing about other worlds and the Ascians, and I feel like that is such a good point. The fact that they revealed the existence of the other worlds and like dimensions at the end of 3.0, 3.x, and then now we're just like, yeah, okay, but we're gonna go deal with our petty little squabbles on our one little Earth without knowing about the greater conflict of all of the worlds.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a really big oversight on our part.
That is such a great point. Like, we're not even dealing with actual issues. We're just following around the other characters as they deal with their own personal issues.
Yeah.
It's like we have our own, and like, the Garlands are horrible and all of this stuff needs to be liberated, blah, blah, blah. But when we know that these worlds are completely dying and we are the source world, there should be something that we now, as a warrior of light who was kind of ascended past, I don't want to say we're more than immortal, but we kind of are, to the point where we know what God knows, that we should now be able to help in some way, assist with that conflict. But instead we're like, no, let's just go liberate one.
It's gone. Yeah.
And I just feel like that's not, I feel like they should have waited to drop the multiple world things like 4 more expansions down the line. That way, like, and then they could turn the conflict into something bigger.
Yeah.
But now that we know about the bigger conflict and then we're reverting back to the smaller conflicts, it just feels really disjointed.
No, it does. It's quite frankly, it's one of the most disjointed narratives in a long-term sense that I've ever experienced in an MMO. Like, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online. And I am shocked, just going through and questing, I am shocked by how well the story that they're laying out is hanging together. Like, shocked. I've never thought that, Bethesda told a particularly tight storyline, right? That's fair. It always felt like it was on you to be able to figure out, what it is you're going next, and it's sort of like you're kind of the engine that's driving the story.
It was
right?
always very easy to sort of lose sight, like whether it was in Fallout or Skyrim. Days later, I remember, oh right, got to kill that dragon.
Exactly. So playing Elder Scrolls Online, I expected a lot of the same thing, and I think in early levels I got a lot of that, but as I'm continuing on, and I'm starting to like pick up on more and more of where the what the game wants out of me, because it doesn't make that explicit. I'm really surprised by how tight the storyline is that they're telling, and I think it's quite enjoyable. You compare that to some of the side quests and the flavor quests that you get out of FF14, because I've been doing them in tandem, right? I never did any of the Stormblood quests. I just did the MSQ to be able to barrel to level cap, right? So I'm going back and taking my machinist through a lot of the FF14 questing, and it pales in comparison, because I feel like the side quests don't get the amount of attention, like even a quarter of the attention that some of the MSQ does. The MSQ doesn't even hold together very well. There's only little bits and pieces of FF14 quests that I even remember that even stand out to me, and I've been fucking reading. I've been trying. I've been wanting to do a comparative analysis of the quest system between the two games for weeks now, and I just, like, FF14, it was a game that held so much narrative promise at A Realm Reborn and delivered that throughout all of 2.0. And then 3.0, it started to falter a little bit. And
after the actual expansion drop. So I would say, like, with 3.1,
3.2 is where
that's fair. Yeah.
Is where I noticed it, really. And by the time we got to Warriors of Darkness, there were some glaring narrative issues, and Nika just hit the nail on the head with that. Is that we were given way too much information. That was an info dump that we didn't need, that has not paid off
for that much information.
Yes, and it hasn't paid off in any narrative sense, so it was purposeless.
If they wanted us to go there, I feel like we would have had to liberate everything, take down Garlemald, make everyone kind of feel like we're at peace, and then boom, all of a sudden there's a greater world conflict, and then each world can work together against whatever the Ascians are doing.
That would have been
like
so
we would have needed that whole build up before the info dump of the other worlds. It feels like it was backwards, and I don't know why they made this decision. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
Have we even seen the Ascian? Like, have they actually done anything this expansion?
It's a good question. I think outside of what was it, the king reacting to someone,
to him taking his mask off,
right?
Or
We don't,
yeah.
but we don't know for sure what that is.
That was the end of the 4.0 proper.
Right.
credit scene.
Right.
After credit scene.
Yeah.
So they really haven't done anything. And again, though the Asians are presented to us, especially during the 2.x storyline, as kind of like the big bads. Like they captured Minfilia, they took over Thancred, like they did all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're just letting them do whatever they want while we go and deal with our petty squabbles again. Like I don't feel like we are fully understanding the shit that's going down, and I feel like that's a really bad oversight in all of the Scion's part because they should be more aware of this.
Yeah, absolutely. But no. Hey, the neighborhood across the sea really needs some help, guys.
Yeah, Tsuyu's really sad about stuff. We have to fix her.
We're being the universe is being consumed by light. But yet, oh no, we got some
amnesia to deal with over here.
Yeah, we got some real estate issues that we got to solve. Like Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
You know, Nika, you and Juxta, and I really wish that he would have been here for this. We mentioned it briefly a little earlier, but you guys sort of, I think, noticed something with the patch notes. The Four Lords storyline, which we've seen Genbu, we fought Byaku now, and now we're being pointed towards not sure who, but Tenzin. We think is coming in. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you and Juxta were sort of discussing exactly?
We were trying to decide based on the patch notes if the new Four Lords is going to be simply a dungeon boss or an actual
right, because we know that we're getting a trial, but on the patch notes it's triple question mark, so we don't know who it is.
Right, and the thing is, we know we're getting a dog, but the thing is that Juxta made a good point. I can't believe I'm saying that. In comparing this to 3.3, where we got the Nidhogg fight, it ended the storyline, and then we got the hard mode of Nidhogg where the mount dropped. And he's saying, Xenos is back. If this mirrors that at all, which it's Square Enix, it's going to, this is going to be the end of the Doma shit. We're going to get a showdown. Like, there's no way we're not going to have a showdown with Xenos, and then you don't think that we're then going to get another trial with Xenos. Versus when we look at the Four Lords, like, little notes here, it's hard to tell if it's just going to be a boss or if it's going to be a trial. Or
well, yeah,
it could be both.
I don't think it. I definitely don't see any evidence of it being a trial.
Because,
it's literally just like a quest.
Yeah,
but the thing is that it's always a quest.
It looks like a flashback. That's all it looks like.
Well,
I mean,
it does say, by the way, tortoise in time. So there's probably at least going to be some form of echo time travel, maybe.
Yeah, because you see the flashback of Tenzin. So we already know Tenzin stuff was all in the past. So that's definitely something's going to happen there. But like, as what happened in the past, we fought Genbu as the boss, and then we fought Byaku as the trial, and then the one that dropped the mount was the bard rehash of it. So it could be that like this time we get like Seiryu, and then we get Suzaku as a trial, where we get Seiryu as a dungeon boss, or we just get one lord, because we also know there's going to be whatever that big bad one is that the Four Lords are protecting, like the bigger, badder guy that we don't even know, right? So it could be that we get two of them now, then we get the big one later, or we get one as a done. It's hard to say.
I don't know why they don't just give us the title of it. Like it's going to be some big spoiler. Like, okay, we know that if Xenos is coming back, we should probably have to fight him, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're giving us Genbu and Byaku, we know Seiryu or Suzaku is coming next.
Right.
One of those, it's not a spoiler.
It is strange because we did know originally, at least with Thornton, I don't think we knew that Shinryu was going to end up being the boss when we fought Thornton originally. But I know, or not Thornton, when we fought Xenos originally. But I know originally with Thornton, I feel like we knew there was going to be a Thornton fight, and we also knew that we were going to have a Byaku fight. We were talking about how stupid he looked before the patch even dropped.
Yeah, so no, we got those in notes. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not entirely sure why we don't get to know if we're fighting Xenos or Suzaku or Seiryu. It seems a little bit strange that it would be a spoiler. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure why they're hiding it exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to just be
lead to more disappointment more than anything else.
I mean, if you ask me, like, aren't they kind of running out of time to pay off the Four Lords?
Well, that's why I was thinking they could do a dungeon boss and a trial this time, like they did last time, and then give us the big bad guy in a couple patches. But I don't know.
It sounds like we may get them in tandem next time to lead up to the big bad. And I'm kind of curious who they're going to make the big bad.
Yeah, because they
It's
said
not
that
gonna
there's
be
some
curing.
guy, like all 4 of the lords were like keeping the seals locked on like the bigger, badder guy, right?
Ooh.
But I don't know. I mean, and also we don't know exactly how Tenzin's story ended either, and so we're kind of getting little pieces of that.
What's his connection exactly?
I'm trying to remember.
Do we
only get
even know?
You get that one cutscene after you beat the dungeon where Genbu explains it to you. And I mean, he's a human who had somehow came across them. He was an outcast from his own town.
Right.
And ended up, like he was cast out, like he was banished. And like he ended up not like taming them, but like being friends with them. I remember he was like actually good friends with Byakko, and like Byakko went crazy. I don't know. Like there was a whole tie-in. But I don't think we know exactly where Tenzin's story leads. Yeah, he teamed up with the 4 lords to lock this beast away.
Then I feel like this tortoise in time could very much be Genbu basically maybe filling us in on the rest of it.
Yeah, because you see the picture there, and you see the black and white, like,
and that's it.
Thing of Tenzin. You think we're just gonna get a quest and not any of the lords?
Look what they did to Hildebrand.
You don't think the boss though of Swallow's Compass is gonna be one of them?
No. No, I don't think so.
Because we just said at the beginning we thought the dungeon was going to be related to 4 lords. If it is, at least the dungeon boss will be one of them.
See, I was...
They put another one at the end of a dungeon. That's
what I'm saying. They probably will. It'll be Genbu in a dungeon, Byakko as a trial, although we got them at the same time. They're going to put another one as a dungeon and then another one as a trial.
I honestly wouldn't be that surprised if this was rolled into the dungeon much like it was with Genbu. Right, where we have to flag the quest. The quest is what gives us access to the dungeon, and then the cutscene comes at the end of the dungeon. It's Square Enix's lazy little way of tricking us as players to make us think that we got more content than we did.
Again, I will be very upset about this unless one of them is a dungeon boss, which leads into a trial, much like Genbu to Byakko did. If we get like Suzaku as a boss and then Serio as a trial, or vice versa, I'll be okay with that. But I don't see anything here that says that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, me neither.
No, well, that's disappointing. Yeah. The one thing that I actually am looking forward to in this whole patch is, of course, our return to Ivalice, the Riodorana Lighthouse. Now, if you look underneath here, there's actually 5 quests that apparently have to do with this, and even going into Rabinasti, there was actually quite a lengthy quest series that you had to go through. Now, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. You guys are going to have to let me know if I'm reading the way patch notes are set up. But basically, these 5 quest things, it seems like they follow the Riodorana, right? You must first complete a city fallen, and then that gives you access to the next one, which you have to complete uninvited, right? So they sort of precede each other. The last one has a level requirement of 1. Is that weird, or am I looking into that too much?
Oh, what? Okay, it's also possible, keep in mind, pre-patch notes have a lot of typos. So it is possible that was a mistake.
Okay, yeah, because all the other ones are like Disciple of War Magic, level 70, then this one's like level 1. I mean, not that it matters, because you have to be level 70 to complete the other ones as well, but that was just a weird thing.
Maybe it dumps maybe it dumps a shitload of XP as a reward, and you want to get that on a job that's not pinned at 70.
No, I think it's a mistake, because like there's been times these patch notes are pretty good, but a lot of times I've noticed like letters jumbled and words misspelled and things in the prelim patch notes that are fixed by the time the real patch notes drop.
Yeah, why give you free XP when you can just go to the cash shop and pay for it?
I think this is just a typo.
This next one here, new side story quests have been added. This triple question mark. I think that is our trial. It does say though that players must first complete a main scenario quest.
But you also had to do that for Byakko as well,
right?
Like you had to do the main scenario and you had to do the dungeon. But then again, that was kind of what was leading Juxta to think that was like a Xenos thing.
It makes sense if they.
This says side story quest. This is not the main story quest. New side story quests have been added, and then they said you must first complete a main scenario quest, and it will become available after progressing through the 4.3 main scenario. That to me looks like a quest for
the 4 lords,
but it doesn't mean that it's a trial. It's just a quest. So.
I think I'm going to put my money on something 4 lords related, even with Xenos coming back. I don't know that they would make us fight him the patch he comes back.
Yeah, especially because, like, thinking about it, Shinryu was Xenos. Like Xenos became Shinryu, and then we got the refight with Shinryu for the X mode. So I think that might already kind of count because we didn't have an earlier like Nidhogg fight at all. It just happened. Well, I mean, I guess that's not true. We had it in the Airy dungeon, but in terms of a trial and like a rehash, we already got that.
Yeah, but the ultimate Shinryu or the extreme Shinryu fight, wasn't that through the Bard?
Yeah, all the Savage modes are extreme modes.
Yeah, so those aren't like considered canon. Like we didn't get a rematch with him. We went to the Bard, and he's like, "Tell me the story." And,
well, yeah, but that's the thing. Though is that like we get the main one through the story, and then the Bard has the Savage mode or whatever. Right.
So our rematch wasn't an actual rematch.
Well, yeah, but neither.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our match with Nidhogg in the area as an actual fight against Nidhogg, then sure. But I feel like what Jux and I were discussing was that in 3.3 we got the regular Nidhogg fight and then the Bard version, and he's thinking that because this is 4.3, we're gonna get a regular Xenos fight and then a Bard version. Same thing with Thornton. But I don't know.
I still think I'm going to put my money on the Four Lords fight. I think that...
but do you think it's going to be a dungeon? Or do you think it's going to actually be a trial?
It's going to be we might get both.
See, but it doesn't seem like there's enough boxes here, even with the question marks. If you look at the requirements for them, it doesn't seem like there's enough boxes for
no, because it would easily...
And then a storyline fight and a Savage fight and something with Zen. Like, I don't think...
Put Siryu or Suzaku at the end of Swallow's Compass, right? And then similar to how Genbu sent us to fight Byaku, they then send us to fight whoever the second one was. And then there, your Four Lords have been revealed.
But didn't they say whatever the primal fight that we have this time is not connected to the Four Lords? Didn't they confirm that in the last live letter?
Did they?
In one of the live letters, I sort of feel like they did. Because I feel like yeah, that it was confirmed early on that whatever primal like fight, basically circle room, big baddie, whatever that is not going to be connected to the Four Lords. Yeah, Oot is saying that they did. Yeah, they said that. I'm not fucking crazy.
All right. I never said you were crazy. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. Breathe. I do feel like if they're trying to keep whatever this trial is such a secret for it to be a spoiler, I do feel like it wouldn't be Four Lords related, right? Because again, with the Four Lords, everybody knows who they're going to be,
right?
But if it's Xenos, I feel like we know that he's came back. If we
don't know why or how or what.
Okay, but if we end up fighting him, that's not going to surprise anyone. No. So
why bother hiding it like that?
Yeah. So this trial could be some type of huge swerve.
Yeah, I don't know.
But do you think it will be? I think they just didn't want to put anything because the name of the quest is going to be something that happens in the storyline, and it is.
What if it's Yida?
God damn it! That is not going to happen. I would love that.
That is the only narrative. The narrative thread that they never paid off, right?
Oh yeah.
What was? Hang on, no. Let me just ask this from a narrative perspective. What is the point of having Lise disguise herself as Yida if you're never going to pay off where Yida actually is?
That's true, because there really wasn't. I mean, she was kind of in hiding and she was trying to pretend she was someone, but really
there was no reason for her.
The reason for it, would have been it hasn't come to fruition, and I feel like there has to be a reason.
Yeah, at least more compelling than what did they give? What did they give us? Because she was trying.
If she had instead stayed Yida, but had taken off her helmet and revealed like her backstory, like, hey, my name is Yida, my sister Lise died in this escape, it would not have changed.
It wouldn't have changed it. It wouldn't have changed an iota.
She could have just stayed as Yida and had the same backstory, except she was the older sister. Nothing would have changed. So there really, unless we see Yida at some point, there is no payoff. There was no point.
That has to be where they're driving.
If we end up seeing Yida in this patch, I will bow down to them at this point, because I can't see it happening, but I want it to so fucking.
That's the thing, right? Exactly. Like, that, and that's, I think, my chief complaint about the FF14 narrative is that it just doesn't pay off enough of what it sets up, and it sets things up almost without even knowing that it set it up, right? The problem with Yida and Lise, right? That seems more as a like it comes off as ham-fisted writing more so than a clever setup. And I think even if they do end up bringing Yida back in some form or fashion and paying off that plot point, that at this point they've waited to do it so long that it's going to end up feeling ham-fisted.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, because I have a feeling that if they do bring Yida back, it's going to be next patch. Because we know we're finishing off Doma's story and Yotsuyu's bullshit right now. We're going to get through all of that before we go back to Alamigo. And if Yida comes in, speaking about, Lisa, their father, and how active he was in Alamigo's rebellion and all of that, it's not going to be till we're done with Doma.
That's fair. This is the Doma section.
Right. The other possibility that we have, because we got, we talked about it last week in the trailer, is there could be some kind of instanced battle that takes place, quote unquote, inside Yotsuyu's mind. I've seen that
look like that.
I've seen that theory tossed out there more than a few times.
Why would that be a spoiler though? Like, why hide that as a trial?
I think that
can easily be a duty.
No. That makes sense to hide that, because we don't know for certain what those scenes were implying.
Yeah, but we don't know for certain if that means we're like destroying Yotsuyu's memories, we're helping her recover her memories.
Right.
Why we're in there in the first place, why we'd even want to help Yotsuyu other than Gotsetsu's weird fucked up feelings for her. Like, there's I could see them hiding that just because they want the speculation. Like, they know that people looked at the purple flying orb.
I feel like
and we're speculating now, so it turns out Yotsuyu's Yida all along.
Damn it, it's back. Yeah. All right. Well, as much as I'm not looking forward to the story itself, like just all of
I just want to know.
Yeah. Some of this is just like, all right, what the hell is actually going on?
I want to know what's going on in the developer's mind more so than the story.
But yeah, let's go into their mind. Now, Nika, I know that you are, for some dumb reason, excited about the Namazu.
I do all the beast quests. I love them. I've done every single one, max rank in all of them. So,
well, one of the big, I think, disappointments that we had when we saw that, because earlier on we thought that with the Namazu and building something up, that the Doman Enclave would be a prime place for them to put that, and we're basically helping to rebuild the Doman capital. And when they're like, nah, they want to do a fucking festival, that was all kind of shit on.
Only the Ananta Beast Tribe quests I feel like are actually building something in the world. Like the turtle guys, whatever the fuck they're called.
Oh my god, I hated that. They are just building up
their own treasure vault. Well, I understand.
Was so fucking.
It's like, well, I understand that's kind of important to their culture. I don't feel like that's something the Warrior of Light should be helping them with. So it seemed a little ham-fisted as well. And then the Anantas at least were building up a stronghold, and you were helping the young Ananta kind of grow into her own. I felt that was kind of cool.
If your vault is sacred in that way,
you can't just build it up.
Isn't having an outsider helping you build it tantamount to sacrilege?
Well, not really, because each of the things in their new vault are things from the rest of the area, and they're kind of trying to make their vault special to the current culture of the world now that they are kind of integrated and they're not keeping themselves secluded anymore. So like they're like, it's not really important now, but in thousands of years, all of these things will be super important. So I don't think that's necessarily sacrilege, because they're building a new type of treasure.
That's still the dumbest thing.
It is dumb.
I mean, it kind of depends on the culture, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean,
it does depend on the culture, but they're trying to expand into inclusion.
I mean, I guess
instead of exclusion.
I guess.
I don't know, but they are doing a Doman Enclave build up.
Yes, that was the thing that surprised me. They do actually have a quest called "It Takes an Enclave," and basically the Doman Enclave reconstruction effort has begun, and so players can now donate unneeded items to help supply and finance the reconstruction of the Enclave. And the note says that in exchange for items donated, players will receive gratuity that amounts to slightly more than they normally would be received when selling said items to a vendor. But as players continue to make contributions, we're actually going to see the Enclave grow and change over time.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one. It was like one of the Little Ladies Day events or something, where like the more people turned things in, the more we could buy from the store. It was like, or the more we went out excavating or something like that. Then then eventually the reward is that like peach choker or whatever. But it was like some servers were like, oh, our server's gotten it already, and we're like, oh, we haven't gotten it yet. So it was like a server wide effort. And so I think it's kind of cool they're reusing that idea that each server is Enclave is probably going to be at a slightly different level, especially because the gratuity only lasts so long per day or whatever. And so some people can continue to turn in shit for free just to build it up if you want. Or some people on some servers might be like, well, I'm not going to gill, I'm not going to turn anything in. And so some servers are going to, build up way faster than others. And I'm kind of curious about where they're going with it and what we're going to get when it's all built up. But
I can tell you what we're going to get.
What?
Nothing.
It's just going to be built up. But I mean, it's nice that Square Enix and the FF14 development team are starting to kind of experiment with things like this, because I do think the next expansion has to have some kind of greater overworld event or purpose than just fates and hunts. Those are the only two things that keep people in the overworld. And I think that if there was, systems...
Honestly, a campaign thing would not be the worst they could put in right now.
Honestly...
Especially with Garlemald, you can help take and give things like Garlemald would take back a location, you fight them back, you regain control, the Garlemald takes it back from you. How fucking easy would it be to put campaign in Garlemald?
But I mean, like, think about it. How mind-blowing is it that, a system like Conquest existed at the earliest stages of FF11's development, but that we've had nothing like that for FF14.
Yeah, in 1.0, they did have the Hamlet defense shit, and they also had...
right, that's true.
What are they called? Other than Hamlet defense, there was...
there was the Chocobo caravan.
No, but there was something else, too. There was... I remember going into like Copperbell when it wasn't a dungeon and doing one of these.
Oh yeah, open dungeons. There were like open world dungeons.
There was like, it was like a campaign type of deal, but you'd sign up on an NPC and it would start at a certain time, and you'd go and you would like kill things in the overworld.
Leave, were they were a type of leave, weren't they?
Not exactly. No. It was something, they had them all over the world. It was basically guild hests, right? No, that's not what it is.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
Was it guild hests?
Yeah, I thought it was guild hests.
Battle has type things, You would sign up in the NPCs like around the world, and the ones in the overworld areas were much more popular, and then the ones in like Copperbell and stuff were higher level, so not as many people did them.
Right.
But it was cool, and I felt like I was contributing, and I remember too that you could get XP even at low levels for doing them, so I did them a lot.
This game gives me nothing to shake my yeeping about. Sad.
Now, you guys realize one of the reasons that I was excited about this Doman Enclave reconstruction effort thing is this is essentially talking about what was one of my favorite events in World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, back in 2007, where it was kind of the same thing. There was like this war effort to where you did quests and turned things in, and every week when the server reset or whatnot, you would see how much progress was made on your server. And Nico, like you said with the Little Ladies event, different servers were ahead in different ways. But then I realized this is Square Enix and Yoshi that's making this. And honestly, all I think this is going to be is it's going to be what in previous expansions we had got with Mordona or with Idleshire.
That just took more time, yeah.
Yes, except now it's sort of on us to do. And it's basically going to be sort of the same way. Each time when we get to whatever the thresholds are, all right, it's built up a little bit more. Maybe there's a new NPC there or not, but I honestly
would be cool if they added shops and NPCs the farther along that we were. Because
still, even if they add shops, they're not going to be like new shops that only the Enclave has.
They better be.
No, why not? I'm sorry. Do not put your hopes on. Do not put your hopes on.
I'm looking back at that Little Ladies event, and in that event, there were items that were specific to the event itself.
Okay, fine. Yeah, maybe you'll get more weeb clothing.
But even still, if it's a shop that like you're served, like you can get, even if it's just glamour, like you cannot get it. You cannot get it on your server unless you've turned in a certain amount of things and built up your Enclave.
But you really think it's going to be that hard to turn this shit in? In fact, Nika, when the next patch comes out, it'll be a catch-up patch. Oh, these servers didn't quite make it, so we're going to push them up there. There, now you got it. Good luck on this next round of tournament.
I hope they wouldn't do that. No, that would be bad.
Really? I would put money on them doing that.
It feels like I'm dying inside.
It really would. Oh my God, Square Enix.
They're player haters.
Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Kookie is standing by to take your call. Lloyd's training with her today, so make sure that Lloyd gets a little bit of workout. But let's go over to our phone line and talk to Aaron Edge. What's going on?
Howdy.
How you doing? Guys? What's up?
It's been a while.
I know. What's going on, dude?
Lloyd fucking sucks at his job.
Really?
Aww.
That's
Yeah.
the first. This is the first negative report I've gotten on Lloyd so far.
I got in there and he's like, "So you know what to do, right?" I'm like, "No, fuckface. You're supposed to tell me that. What are you talking about?"
You've called in before, though.
I know, but I talked to Kooky before. She was actually helpful. Fuck Lloyd.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about today, Aaron?
I want to. Well, there's a lot of cowards in chat right now.
Yeah, there are.
Taro 223, terrible username, by the way. I would like to bring their complaints to you guys, if that's okay.
Oh, nice to you.
And also,
we appreciate that.
Also, at the end, I'd like to say something about this shitty game. So apparently, you guys are supposed to be these like pillars of professionalism in video game journalism on this show, and stating your opinions and I don't know, talking shit about the dev team. I mean, yeah. Apparently that makes you guys very unprofessional, and Taro is very upset with you guys right now.
I did see that he wants us to give more proof and facts of our opinions.
Saying that we are claiming that our opinions are the fact, and we should be providing facts to back up our claims.
No, I know what this is. What we should be doing to assuage his worries is, after everything we say, like every other YouTuber streamer personality who doesn't want to actually get in trouble or churn the waters, we're supposed to say, but that is just my opinion.
But we say that all the time.
Yeah, kind of.
You say I think this, or I'm hoping for this. Like,
you have to actually back up with the actual phrase. That's my opinion, so they know for sure.
Yeah.
There's also,
or else you get idiots like this in your comment section.
There's also a guy that's been lost in your chat for about an hour and just has no idea what's going on. He keeps saying, "What's everyone mad about? What's going on? Hello, everybody."
Is that the quack?
Fuck you, Taro. You're retarded.
I understand why you play the game now, Taro.
Now to this game. Can anyone please fucking die in this video game?
Thank you.
What the fuck is going on? Why is Xenos back? Why did they even do the little, I pretended to kill myself thing if they were just going to bring him back?
I think he's revived out of his own will. I don't believe he wanted to be revived.
That is
I hope Yida brought him back.
Plot point. That is a ridiculous plot point. They could have made this cool battle with him at the end where you fought him, and then even after maybe the Shinryu fight, you could have had a little one-on-one fight with him that wasn't very long, and he just like left. He was just like, all right, well, I've had my fun with you. I'm just going to leave and go fucking do some other shit.
He did that enough during the actual MSQ.
Yeah, he did that. He's like, oh, no.
He could have... Okay, is that better? Or is that any worse than what happened, though? I mean, what happened
we don't know the reason yet, so I'm going to hold my fingers crossed. And
I can almost guarantee you the reason is fucking dumb.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, is that I think when anyone does this, and not just FF14, not just Square Enix, but when any narrative does this, where they pull the punch on a character death, whether they're a villain or a hero, it takes the impact out of death. It takes the impact out of having a meaningful character death later on. So the amount of people that you bring back after they die, you can only go to that well so often. Now, on the other side of that, you can only kill characters so often, because if you start killing characters left and right, you become Game of Thrones, and no one can really form an attachment to any character. So you've got to kind of ride that line. And I think that Square Enix has been historically bad at character deaths or using that, like, haha, gotcha, for character deaths. And the first time
they had left all the characters dead, it would have been perfect, honestly. I think
I agree.
Spaced it out perfectly.
I agree. But the first time I noticed Square Enix doing this was with Saz in 13, when you're made to think he kills himself, but then 3 scenes later, oh, there he is, and that it was like at that point Square Enix lost me with the with 13's story, and they've continued to do that using death as a ham-fisted plot point. They continue to do that through a lot of their titles,
and that's fair because I mean, FF7 we've got Aerith's death, which I feel like was a step.
Spoiler!
Oh man, my bad. Was a step in the right direction. But then you're right. You look at 8, you look at 9. Nobody dies. Look at 10.
Right.
Like 10's is a little bit different because you have people that were never alive.
He never existed in the first place.
But the same thing even with Orin, he wasn't alive the entire time either. So like that's I feel like a different kind of story. But the thing is that then you get 10-2 where they bring him back, and I'm like that bothers me so much because despite the fact that I like 10-2's battle system and a couple things about it, it ruins the impact of the emotional ending of FF10. Like even though he wasn't alive in the first place, you still formed an attachment to him. You still saw Eunice pain as he disappeared at the end, and I was a wreck. I still cry watching that ending. And then you get 10-2 where it's like,
me too.
By the way, he's just back because the faith said so.
I saw the greatest meme ever today for Final Fantasy X-2. It was accidentally kill God, boyfriend imaginary, no problem, lesbian road trip. Pretty fucking accurate. Pretty fucking accurate.
Oh, that is pretty great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yes, you're right. Like even 10, which had an impactful ending, got completely rewritten with 10-2. And you're right. They have not stuck with it. I'm trying to think if in 11, if they killed off any characters that we cared about. Not really.
Was there a meaningful character death in FF11?
Not that I can remember, but to their credit, I also can't remember them screwing that up, like killing somebody off or having the chance to do so and then not actually doing it.
Yeah.
I think Estinian should have died too.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Estinian should have been the one to die.
I mean, if he had died, I would have been bawling and I would have thought that was amazing, and I didn't.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
and then in 12... Not really.
Well, 12 opens with a character death, but a character that means nothing to us.
Right, but it also helps to see the character's motives. I think
that's true.
Okay. Because then, you know, she was really motivated by the fact that her fiance, almost husband, was killed and he never comes back. So
that's true.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because how much would it have ruined the entire point of the game if he like magically came back?
You're right. Oh man. Oh my God. That would have been terrible.
And what's Bosch's brother's name? What's his name? The judge.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember his name. It's been too long. Right? I don't remember.
I just recently played it and I don't even remember.
Been a long time. Oh, Lion dies kind of in 11.
Lion dies.
Sort of ish.
She does, but you see her in a lot of like random vision scenes and like flash.
Yeah, she's more like martyred.
Gabranth, thank you. It's Gabranth.
Gabranth, yeah. But it's more like Lion is martyred. And it's sort of like I whenever you would see kind of visions of her, that's what I sort of got.
I don't know if you can count Rhapsodies, but Rhapsodies brings back everyone for like this big huzzah. But I don't think that it's kind of like you're actually bringing back visions brought to life of them, so it's not exactly like the back to life.
So it's more FF10 anyway. So I mean there are definitely some narrative problems you know that Square Enix has exhibited long term, but I mean I agree.
FF15 they kill Luna.
Spoilers.
You're welcome.
I wasn't going to play it anyway.
I just want to have some emotional attachment to these characters.
See, no,
I agree. No.
The fact that we can't lose any of them makes me not really care about any of them.
No, that's the thing, is that 15 was their venture to try, and I will criticize the fact that they wanted Luna's death to be a big dramatic, oh my gosh, we just killed the characters. Square Enix never kills characters. But the thing is that you don't have enough time to build up a connection.
Who gives a fuck about Luna Frey? You see her for 5 seconds before she dies.
Yeah, again, if she was a member of your party, that would have been a different story.
I think even for like one chapter, so you finally, because Noctis talks the whole time about how he's going to see her again. It's been so long, blah blah blah. Like that he cares. But the thing is that if you had met with her, she joins your party for like one chapter. You think that she's actually going to become this, the only playable female in the game, and then they kill her. I think that would have been much better.
Yeah,
they tried, but again failed in that aspect. And so 14 has so many so much potential to have this in their storyline. It's a little bit more mature. It's for that people who play MMOs are not generally kids and immature, but they can be.
Yeah, but it's also
to go down these lines, and they're choosing not to.
But it's also like when Hearts and Farts died, it's not like he had his lung hanging out of his chest.
Yeah, he'll be missed.
You know, like it wasn't. I mean, it was violent, but it wasn't explicit, right? Like I think that death is an appropriate theme for, you know, people ages 13 and up. Jesus.
Remember early on when A Realm Reborn was having like its big success, like, oh, you know, it worked. They did it. And Yoshi P was everywhere. This is still one of the things that got me most hyped about this game's narrative, and they delivered, I think, through 2.0, was when he said, I want to return to the like the dark storytelling that the early Final Fantasies had. And then what's he do? He makes it a fucking theme park. That is completely the opposite of what he was planning on doing with it, and it fucking shows in the game, honestly.
They missed the opportunity to show a lot of darkness in war.
Yeah.
In 2 different places.
Holy shit.
They didn't really show any of it. I mean, they showed a couple very minor NPCs die.
Right.
That literally no one gave a shit about ever. And no one else died. They had like 2 or 3 Scions die.
That's a really great point, Aaron. We never throughout Stormblood and, you know, war and uprising being a central theme, we never even got a hint of like war is hell, right? Like it was a very sanitized portrayal of war.
Yeah, it's basically like, okay, well, you're the most powerful being on the planet, so just wipe out all of our enemies, and we'll just follow along and pick up the pieces like as we go.
Right.
The Warrior of Light and the gang.
The only really time it ever felt like a battle was in that one dungeon that I forget which one it is, where everybody's fighting around it, and that was really cool.
Oh, let me go.
I know that you guys had said something about having an area like that where you could run through and meet up with some of your allies and fight alongside them, and then split off and go to another direction and like actually make it feel like you're sieging on a place. But
imagine if that dungeon would have had multiple routes you could choose between taking. Oh,
yeah, multiple ways to go through would be really
to join up with you, and because you see all the NPCs in the Alamigo dungeon. Like, I made it my mission to find out where all of them were, and I know exactly where all of them are.
I mean, what
would be cool if you could you see them fighting, you help them, they join you, and then at a certain point they'll split off and you meet up with new NPCs. That would have been so cool.
What about? I mean, if you really wanted to get out of the box on this, why not have a casualty counter? And the casualties, the different number of casualties will depend on which path you choose and how quickly you do it. So
wait. What if you got to take your squadron with you, and they somehow caught this disease, and then you had to go and kill them all as they saluted you, and that would be very emotional, right?
Nice one, Aaron. I teed you up for that perfectly. No, but I think I do think that would be really awesome to have something like multiple paths, or like a secondary objective, right? Like the casualty counter could get as high as all of them, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't impact the amount of seals that you get. It wouldn't impact the amount of XP that you get. Whatever it is, wouldn't affect the rewards, but it would be kind of like a secondary objective. People would brag about that shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, Aaron, thanks so much for the call, man. Appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you guys later.
Yep. Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We'd like to hear from you, even if you disagree with us, maybe actually especially because you disagree with us. I like we say this all the time on the show that, we know that we have a fairly cynical outlook on FF14, but to defend that outlook, it's pretty well founded in history, right? Like, all of us have been playing since 1.0 in definitely since 2.0. So you know what I mean? Like, I think that this is definitely based in it's obviously opinion, but it's definitely based in context and experience. So we want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. 3 convenient ways to give us a call. And we do love to hear from you. So thank you, Aaron, for that call. And we want to invite anyone to come on the show. So
all right, so that's a lot of the really big stuff. The other, I think, biggest surprise in these notes that I really wanted to make sure that we touch on is, despite the next deep dungeon not coming till the half patch, we are seeing a significant change to Palace of the Dead in the form of still being able to upgrade some more weapons. Hold on, we gotta find where it is now. All right, here we go. So these are following adjustments that have been made to Palace of the Dead. They've made changes to obtaining and strengthening your Aether Pool equipment. Now, they've added something called Aether Pool grips. So if you've strengthened your arm and armor pool to +10, in addition to clearing floor 50, you can now forge what's called an Aether Pool grip. And you need these grips in order to obtain an Aether Pool weapon to use outside of Palace of the Dead. And then it goes on to say, upon clearing floor 100, a previously acquired Aether Pool weapon may be enhanced even further by getting another 6 grips. And you guys in the chat are going to have to help me here. I'm not sure if this means that we can upgrade those weapons more, or if they're just changing the way that we currently get them.
Yeah, I honestly don't know enough about Deep Dungeon to be able to say one way or the other.
Because normally it just upgrades as you open treasure chests, and then at the end you just
right. But you have to have it to a certain level. Like, I think it was, if you get it to like level 50 or something, or level 100, then it's
99 or 1500, something like that.
Right, there you go. Yeah. So then when you turn in, you're reset back to 0.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Or 70. Okay, here, I think Ook says it. They're changing the way you upgrade it, so you don't spend 70 at a time. Just, oh my gosh, I've realized what they're doing with it now. They're giving us a Deep Dungeon catch-up patch.
It's a fast-forward button, it looks like.
Why does Deep Dungeon need a fast-forward button? You don't even use these weapons anymore.
Maybe doing the first Deep Dungeon is going to be some kind of requirement for the second one.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
So you only technically need +30 now to get your first weapon.
Maybe you need the weapon from the first Deep Dungeon to be able to enter the next one. I think that I would be shocked if that was Square Enix's decision.
That's ridiculous. No, I will say, I think what this also does too is, since you turn in your point for Aether grips, you can now get, I think, every weapon without having to go in there as the job you want to get the weapon on.
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's just making it so that it's less of a grind. I mean, basically, like Strife had just said, so that it's less punishing, and they're doing it to align with the next Deep Dungeon. That could be it.
Okay. I mean, it does, though, seem like this would be a bit of a fast forward.
I mean, well, it definitely is a fast forward, but for what purpose? It may just because it's old content now. You know, it's weird that it's coming. It's weird that it's coming now. On the cusp of getting the next Deep Dungeon expansion.
They just want to introduce us to the system then before, because if they're doing a new system because they just realized that their old method of getting the weapons was kind of dumb, they're going to change it for this one and then change the other one too.
Yeah. They also mentioned they're making more changes and updates to the Lost Canals of Uznir for treasure hunting. Cool.
Yeah.
Adding new dungeons for the Squadron, Aurum Vale, Brayflock's Har Mode, Somal, Glamour Dresser for the Squadron. New crafting items being added to the FC workshops, in addition to airship and undersea voyages.
The rest is annoying garbage.
Well, hold on. I think you'll really like this next one. Housing stuff. There's a lot of housing stuff that's being changed, which I think actually will be reflected on our stream, since we always have the iCam up. So they've added new NPCs, such as salvagers. And get this, Juxta can now change some of our NPCs to be Namazus
Because every Beastman tribe, every Beastman
tribe. No, I'm saying no, that's not happening. I swear to God, if I come in and our NPCs are Namazus, I'm going to hold off starting the show until they're switched back. I will protest starting the show until they're changed back to something normal.
What's normal? Cat girls?
Fine. I don't give a shit. Just not those things. I hate those things.
I wonder if you actually have to do the Namazu Beast Tribe quest to unlock.
You do.
Oh, okay. You ain't got to worry about
it. Yeah, Juxta's never going to do that, so.
I have a Nantas in mind, and you had to get to a certain point to buy the permits.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's okay.
Cool. Yeah.
So they've added new furnishings, including some of the contest winners. The guest books have been added, new orchestrion roles. This is what Juxta's really excited about. Prior to this patch, you were only allowed one aquarium, no matter where it was. Private chambers, cottage house, mansions. Now, you can put 4 aquariums in a private chamber, 6 in a cottage, 8 in a house, or 10 in a mansion, which means he's going to turn our fucking studio into SeaWorld at this point.
Wasn't there some kind of glitch thing that said that right now you can only put 5?
Oh, maybe, but I'm sure they'll fix it eventually. But I guarantee you.
It says this is included in 4.3, but due to a critical issue, the number of aquariums is temporarily limited to 4.
God damn it, Square Enix.
Players will be informed when the issue is resolved. So we'll at least be able to have 4 and then eventually 10.
Yeah. There's also new cards being added for Triple Triad. They're making significant changes to Chocobo Racing, which I didn't really read about because it's still fucking Chocobo Racing. They're also adding, I can't believe this, they're adding NPCs to Lords of Verminion.
To the tournaments.
Yeah, so the 2 people who are actually interested in doing that shit can still play them.
Oh, and you can queue from Duty Finder now, too.
Well, you could do that with Triple Triad, but yeah.
Fucking cares.
Yeah. Nika, you were apparently looking forward to the changes they're making to performance?
Yeah, they're adding new instruments. They're adding an oboe, and I'm an oboe player, and I love oboe, and I have a really soft spot for oboe, so I'm really excited they're putting an oboe sound. They're also adding flute, clarinet, fife, and panpipes.
Come on, you're the reason this is happening. You're the problem.
I actually made a friend specifically because of this, by the way. I came out of Eureka once and he was sitting there. Apparently he has a keyboard plugged up and rigged through his computer, and he was sitting there playing piano and sitting there by the Eureka NBC and playing rock songs and other FF14 songs and other video game songs for us.
He's not allowed to play rock songs.
What's his name?
We need to know his name so we can report him.
He wasn't posting them. That wasn't it. You can't post it on YouTube if you do.
No, you can't even play them.
There's no rule against playing it.
You can't even play them.
Better safe than sorry.
Play them and then post them online. You can't do that. But anyway, he had a whole audience, and we were all sitting around doing the / jumpy emotes, and he was just playing.
You were doing your rave party bullshit.
I was. It was really fun, and he's a friend now. All because of music that brought people together. They're also fixing latency issues to perform also.
Oh, good.
It kind of sucked. And you can also play them in the gold saucer now.
Boy, you are just so determined not to be cool about this.
Actually, the coolest thing is you can play it in the wedding chapel. So I feel like now you can have friends play songs for the weddings. That's kind of cool.
Oh my God.
That's cool.
Oh my God.
Stop it.
It's cool.
Stop.
The rest
new
of the
challenge
garbage.
They've added new challenge logs for Lords of Verminion and Eureka. This gives, I guess, a little bit of maybe extra incentive to kill things in Eureka, but it still probably
not
doesn't.
If you're max level though. It gives you experience at lower level, so
it'll be nice. It'll be nice
to catch up.
It'll be nice for the next Eureka.
Well, here's the thing. It probably still isn't enough to rival the NM train. So.
Well, I got to tell you, though, in our Discord the other day, Raggins had shared a screenshot of the NPC that you use to zone into Eureka.
Yep.
No one there.
3 people,
I think. 3 people. Yeah.
Yep.
It was depressing. It was real. It was legitimately
well, remember,
depressing.
It does gather people from all different servers. So 3 here and 3 there. You might have a party. They've added in new emotes and new hairstyles. Great. Lots of job changes coming. Oh my God, massive amounts.
Yes, lots. By the way, give us a call. Limit Break Radio. This is our final call for callers. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord. We're probably going to be wrapping up the show here in just a few minutes. So this is your last call.
Come forth, coward!
Would love to hear from you.
Yeah. So Nika, I'm going to rely on your, and I'm using air quotes here, expertise. Are there anything? And because again, there's tons of them. What's basically what are we looking at here?
Well,
I mean, Dark Knights is pretty huge.
Dark Knight and Samurai are getting like potency and in recast buffs and stuff. Like those should, yeah, like Dark Knight and Samurai are going to be a lot more viable than they have been previously. Monk's getting some like random little things. I'm not really sure how it's going to affect. For Ninja, you're going to be able to sprint while Hyde is on. Is that something you needed?
It might actually be cool in
Eureka. Yeah.
In Eureka or with the new Deep Dungeon coming out, because Hyde was overpowered in Palace of the Dead.
Oh, okay. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because unless they had True Sight, most things couldn't see you, so it was super easy to get around them.
Oh.
But you were also walking at a fucking snail's pace, so...
Oh, that's true.
What about these samurai buffs, Nika?
It's so awesome. It's just a ton of potency. So basically every single big weapon skill is getting potency.
Of 20 potency.
Yeah, potency of 20, which is good because
It's
Samurai has been slightly struggling on its DPS. Like when it first came out, it was just overpowered, and now it falls behind the other melee. Just it's a few hundred DPS behind no matter what eye level you are. So I'm really fucking excited for these.
Yeah, upping your defense too. Third Eye now reduces 10% damage, and Merciful Eyes has an additional effect of reducing enmity by 20%.
Yes, so I never use Third Eye because I'm never tanking, but now that it has an enmity thing on it, that's actually really cool.
That is really cool.
Gotcha.
Although Monk's Purification is kind of dumb. Monk is also getting reduces enmity by half, but Purification is a move that like gives you TP back and expending all of your chakra. So if you actually have to expend all of your chakra to lower your enmity, it's just not worth it, and to stick with Diversion. But I don't know how that's going to work exactly. Yeah. But Third Eye like is not a big deal. I could probably use that. I don't think Third Eye expends Kenki. I don't believe it does. And if it does, I mean, if I'm like stealing hate, it's not going to be a big deal to use a little bit of Kenki. It comes back every hit. That's not a big deal.
Well, good news for Samurais and Dark Knights then.
Black Mages are having delay. I do not play Black Mage in Endgame, but I know that when you use Ethereal Manipulation or because you zoom back to your ley lines, there's like that little delay before it does it. They're removing that, I guess.
Yeah, because you were never really able to use that to like get out of stuff because of that delay. You might as well just ran. So that's cool. Yeah, that's nice. They're adding Echo to the Jade Stoa and the EX version. Okay. A few changes to Eureka. The location,
Biako, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Yes. Biako, for those who didn't know. The location of the Magia Melters will now be displayed on the map and minimap. The player list can now be sorted by expedition length and elemental level.
It's so hard to find party members when everyone's just thrown in there.
Yeah, and they have the option to prioritize players looking for parties in that player list has been added. It was always so hard to invite specific people. Like in most cases, you were just like, you know what, take fucking leader and invite your friend yourself. The weekly cap for Omega Sigmascape rewards have been removed. The dreaded greed-only loot rule for Alliance raids is now in effect.
Yay!
Yay!
These next two, I'm actually
just by the way, just to extend like hit the nail on the head as to why this is more fair. I've been needing on every piece that I actually don't need,
so that you can turn it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't used to do that. I was a nice person, and I would hit greed just in case there were other people that wanted them, because I didn't care that much.
Right, but think about this: if they really wanted it, like obviously, if you want it, not just for a turn in, because now everyone's going to agree on everything to turn in. Whereas before, if you actually wanted something for that job, you would come on that job because you could use it. Right now, it doesn't even. I feel like it's less fair. Whatever. Because now everyone's just going to roll on everything. So the gear that you actually do need or want for glamour, you're never going to get.
Well, okay, good.
Fair.
At this point, it is only glamour. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Duty Roulette normal raids have been added, so you have more ways to get yourself some Mencia tomes. You know, apparently there's a person that thinks that I am incapable of saying mendacity, and that I'm just accidentally mispronouncing it wrong.
Mispronouncing it wrong?
Tomestones of Mencia, as in Carlos Mencia. It is an insult. It's supposed to be an insult to the game. That's what that is.
Thank you for explaining that.
Well, apparently some people needed me to.
No, one person didn't get it. And
I thought you were just being an idiot. So
you can just call them stupid and move on. Okay, fine. 2 people didn't get it.
All right, so the next one, which is actually something I feel like they've needed to do for a while, Duty Roulette main scenario now has rewards that you actually want.
Yeah, this is they needed to do this. They needed to do this.
Especially when they put the cannot skip cutscenes anymore. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So 300 tomestones of poetics, 100 tomestones of creation, 50 Allegan tomestones of Mencia.
That's right. Yep. And then a bunch of the PvP changes and frontline campaign shit that nobody gives a fuck about.
Yeah, you can go ahead and check those out for yourself over on the Lodestone if you want. Let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Vesser of Tonberry. What's going on, Vesser?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm actually calling from the Philippines, and it's like 6 a.m. right here. And
oh, dang.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to the podcast live, but I've been watching from YouTube, and yeah.
Oh, dude, thanks for calling in, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. So I haven't been playing the game for quite a while since the X-Death raid here. So after that, I haven't played, so I don't know how long that was. But
about 6 months.
I've been playing Black Desert Online.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been addicted to that game ever since I tried it. So what I noticed was there's a lot of things that I don't know if you'll be able to apply it to Final Fantasy, but I think Final Fantasy could rip off some of Black Desert stuff to make it better, I guess.
God, you know, hang on, just real quick, 1 second. I legitimately feel bad now that we've spent this entire show doing show notes, because what you're about to do, compare another MMO to Final Fantasy XIV and say, they could really borrow some aspects of that. That was going to be our whole topic today before they put out the show notes.
We had it all planned out.
So
I guess it's an appropriate call then.
Well, by virtue of the fact that you do live in the Philippines, that it is quite early in the morning over there for you, and we may not be able to get you on when we do this as a discussion. What do you think that FF14 could learn from Black Desert Online?
Okay, so in Black Desert Online, you basically always have the feeling that you need to progress your character, and every time you play, there's something like basically your numbers go up. Like the thing about Black Desert Online is you don't have a level cap, which kind of sounds weird, but is actually like really effective, because yeah, you basically always have a reason to play, and Black Desert Online always gives you some sort of risk, like because basically if you die, so there's like an open PK system. Once you reach like level 50 and above, you basically you can die to other players if they so choose to kill you, right?
So is that in any way like Ultima Online's PK system, where if you initiate a fight with another character, and you kill them, your character gets flagged? In Ultima Online, they would get flagged as red, so you couldn't use like city zones. You'd kind of be a bit of an outcast.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly how it works. But you basically, it's like a karma system, basically. So you have like karma points, and once you reach like negative karma, you basically become like a red player, and they could kill you, and you get you get penalized even more if you die. But like you have a way to retrieve the karma points by just grinding mobs and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, but if you initiate a fight and you're the one who dies, you basically get penalized even more.
Oh no, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, if you're just a random guy grinding and minding your own business, and someone kills you, you lose some experience as well. And once you're like in the level 60 range, which is pretty high, you basically lose hours of grinding by just dying. So it always gives you this sense of danger, because some guys might just, I don't know, like raid you and just kill you for no reason, and you lose a lot of it. So it makes you always keep your toes up. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah,
and the upgrades. So the gear, how the gear works as well. It's basically all. So you. If you start the game and you get your basic gear, it's pretty much going to be your gear until the end, except you're just going to try to upgrade it basically. So it's up to you whether you want to change the gears or not. So all gear has like different bonuses and stuff, but so you basically just try to upgrade it, right? So the upgrade system is pretty punishing as well. And basically, I don't think a single player has ever reached like top gear yet up to now. And I don't know how long the game has been released. So yeah, so
well, I think in the U.S., I think it became commercially available in the U.S. like what, 6 months ago, like not even a year ago. So
yeah.
It's a fairly new game to the region. I know that it had a place in Korea, like it was originally developed, I think, in Korea. So started there and then came to the U.S. So, yeah, I mean, I think that those are definitely some interesting aspects that FF14, could consider. And those are both aspects, like, in terms of, macro design elements to an MMO that you used to find much more commonly in older MMOs. And I do think that there are some games that are kind of going and looking at those mechanics and trying to give them a for lack of a better term, a second life. I think that you see a lot of that kind of attention to detail and history with a game like Ashes of Creation, and what they've outlined sounds very much like it has or at least continues on in the spirit of old school MMOs, and I think that is very appealing. Some of what you've described is very much pulled straight out of old school MMOs, and I'd also find that appealing. So it's tough because MMOs are really becoming a dying genre, and to make a financially not even successful, let's put it this way, to make a financially stable MMO is an incredible feat and an incredible challenge. And so whenever there's a new MMO that comes out, a lot of people bailed off of FF14 to go check out Blade and Soul. Some people bailed out to go check out ESO. Some people bailed out to go check out Black Desert Online. I find myself very reluctant to try a new MMO unless I've done a little bit of research and I really find out what the hook of it is and why I think I could sit down and spend some time with it. And what you've described, actually, I might be able to sit down and spend time with BDO. Those are some pretty cool.
It's all about the grind, because as much as you've been talking about the story and how important that is, and of course it's important, it's not really the thing that's going to keep you from that's going to make you play the game for months, because once you're done with the story, you're pretty much you're left with nothing really with Final Fantasy. I mean, of course there's a raid, but once you're done with that, what now?
Well, I've been trying to really drill down on what my appeal to ESO is, or why I'm drawn to ESO, and I think a lot of it does have to do with having a well-established IP that you feel like you're a part of that world. You're maybe not the center of that world, but you're a part of that world. That's an aspect that I like. I mean, even ESO a little bit kind of puts you into this like savior position, and those parts get a little weird. But that's what something like FF11, that's something that I really appreciated, where it's like, yeah, you're gonna do some heroic stuff. That's cool, but like most of the time you're just another dude running around the city. And I think from a narrative aspect, that's a bit more interesting direction to come at it with, because I think it gives players a sense of agency with their own character and with their own avatar. And of course there's always gonna be people that name themselves my left testicle or whatever, and they don't take anything very seriously. But at the same time, it does allow for the player to have a certain level of suspension of disbelief, and I think that that's one of the aspects that FF14 sorely lacks in. I always feel very much aware that I'm playing an MMO. I'm not getting very lost in the story. I know that I've got to go to the next place, and I just feel very directed from one place to another, as opposed to an organic story that's being told through the medium of this world. You know, it's not a criticism on the FF14 dev team's part. That's a very difficult thing to accomplish. You know, I don't know, man. I think that's my biggest problem getting into Black Desert Online, is that I have no connection to the world or anyone in it. So, yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
one last thing.
Yes.
Like a while ago, you were talking about how to come up with reasons to explore like the overworld, right?
Yes.
So the thing with Black Desert is that you don't have teleports, so you pretty much are forced to go to point A to up to point B, and sometimes it takes like 45 minutes to go to one place to another. So I mean, imagine like Final Fantasy not having ether rights.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much like forced to. I don't know. Yeah,
I like that though, because it forces you into the world. It makes the overworld feel more populated. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for the call. Appreciate hearing from you, Vesser. Thanks for giving us a call, and you know, a shout out to all of our listeners in the Philippines. I don't know how many are out there. You may be the only one, but just in case there's more than one, shout out to all you guys. So thank you very much for calling in, man.
Thanks.
All right. I think we're gonna leave it there. Was there much more?
No. I mean, the rest of this shit is just tiny ass little small things. Although Juxta's gonna get on our asses if we don't mention it. Males can finally wear bunny outfits. Fucking whoop-de-doo.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the crossword link shows have been confirmed. You can invite people to party from the link show list. Thank fucking God. I am so fucking.
That's okay. I mean,
it's a big quality of life thing for me, who my static is now completely cross server, so it's very helpful.
All right.
Yay.
There you go. That's what you can expect with patch 4.3 if you're listening to this on the podcast. Here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to make sure that this podcast is posted by the time servers go down. So if you're listening to this during maintenance, that's what you can look forward to when patch 4.3 goes live. Otherwise, we'll see you during patch day. I'm sure someone is going to be on stream. Make sure that you follow us over at twitch.tv/limitbreakradio. But I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's much more. We didn't have any emails or nothing, right?
We did not. I actually made sure to check it. Well, I made sure to ask Kooky to check, and we did not.
All right. Well, send us some new emails that we can read. Hosts@limitbreakradio.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you know what you have to say can't fit into a tweet, you can always email us, hosts@limitbreakradio.com. I want to thank our callers today, Aaron, Edge, and Vesser. If you want to call Limit Break Radio, you know, make sure to add us as a friend on Skype. Limit Break Radio on Skype. Put it in your phone, 810-515-8715, or just join our Discord channel over at limitbreakradio.com/Discord. That's going to be it for Limit Break Radio, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been an interesting show. I was a bit loath to scrap our other conversation.
Scrapped. We're definitely doing it.
It's just delayed.
We'll revisit it, but you know what? I think we had a good conversation today. So, guys, have fun in patch 4.3 or whatever iteration of the patch you're most looking forward to. We will see you later. For my crew, Kalo Landis and Nika Kayanian, I'm Aniro. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Kalo Landis, Juxtaposition, and Kooky Persona. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Nexian Theta, Hirsch Fersch, Kalen Vera, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.